day. Here we go. Once it catches, it's good.
Okay, I think I got it.
All right, cool. All right, so we're recording now. Here, I'll mute that right quick. Forgive the delay, everyone. All right, let's get back to what we're talking about. Schedule. So basically, there's a purpose. There's actually there's a plan that that the Most High has. In your portion, there was also a promise, a purpose for him going, and of course, there's always a plight. Okay, so we have a plan, we have a promise, purpose, and a plight. So these are the four different categories that we're going to be dealing with today. Within our Torah portion, we saw the idea of family. This is the plan. I want to make our Torah portions more relevant to what the situation is for us right now. It's only going to make sense to us if we put ourselves um, in the Torah. If you understand that this is a family that you belong to, or this is a family that you have attached yourself to. This is a family in which the Most High is building. Even at this moment, the Most High is calling out to his children to listen to him and to bring them together. And so we're going to talk about this family. When the Most High introduces himself to Yaakov, and by the way, Yaakov doesn't really have a relationship with the Most High. I know when we read it, we think because he saw a vision in his dream and the Most High spoke to him, that he has a real meaningful relationship. He doesn't have a relationship with the Most High. He doesn't. He doesn't have a meaningful relationship. He doesn't know the Most High for himself. Okay. And it's found in this statement where the Most High says, I am Yahweh, the Elohim of Abraham, your father, and Elohim of Yitzchak. So he's not the Elohim of Jacob, or we know as Yaakov. That's his name in Hebrew. He's not. Not at the beginning. So when he has this encounter with the Most High, it was simply because the Most High is introducing himself to Jacob. Okay. This is the foundation of the introduction of him going out from where he was. That's the reason why he went. The Most High caused the things to happen to him in order to send him out from his family in order for him to introduce himself to Yaakov. And we find that even in today, you and I may feel as if the Most High hasn't sent us anywhere, but he has. He has sent you on your journey to be introduced to him, to have an encounter with him. And the encounter that we all have had with him is we recognize that the Most High has a name that he goes by. He has relationships and covenants that he's established with those men whom we call Abraham and Yitzchak and Yaakov. And as we know today as the family of Israel. Okay. So this is the Most High speaking to him. And as he speaks to him, he reiterates the covenant message and promise that he made to his fathers, which is Abraham and Yitzchak, saying that your descendants will be as numerous as the grains of dust on the earth. A little different than that which was spoken about being as numerous as the stars. When he spoke to Abraham, he said, your descendants are going to be as numerous as the stars. But here he says they're going to be as numerous as the grains of dust. So there's a heavenly aspect to our origins, and there's also to this idea of our earthly origins, right? And what we are down here on this earth, talking about the multiplicity of who we are and our numbers, okay? The grains of dust on the earth can't be counted, neither can the stars. So the Most High is giving us information about what his intentions are and what his plan is. Okay. He says, you will expand to the west, to the east, to the north, and to the south. Okay. So this is something he's saying that he's going to do for Yaakov and for his descendants. He's not talking about expanding to the west, the east, the north, and the south in just the land of Israel. He's talking about his plan to have us as his people to expand to the four corners of the earth. Every corner of the earth will be occupied with the children of Israel. This is the reason why Yaakov went out, so the Most High can share with him his plan, his intention. Okay. He said, but you and your descendants and all the families of the earth will be blessed. By you and your descendants, all the families of the earth will be blessed. That is Yah's ultimate plan for all the families of the earth. There's no way that the families of the earth can obtain a blessing from Yahweh except through the children of Israel, the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, not in Yishmael, as Yah has said in Genesis chapter number 17, that your seed will be called, but it will be in Yitzchak. And that is something to actually laugh about and to be happy about. Going back to the Most High, naming Yitzchak. This is something that's going to bring joy to the whole entire world. Even right now, while we're in our chaos, we really can't understand this, right? We don't really see it yet, okay? But these are the things that the Most High is saying. He's introducing himself to our father Yaakov because they don't have a relationship at this moment. Our relationship with the Most High is not contingent upon the relationship that our ancestors have had with him. It's what you and I choose to have with him. It's what we want. In this plan, the Most High has sent him out, okay? Pushed him out from his family in order to establish a new family. And the family that he is going to obtain is called the 12 tribes of Israel. When he went, he was not anticipating this. This wasn't his goal. His desire was to go and find a wife, one wife, not two, not three, not four. This was not in his plan, but this is the Most High's plan. And in that, we see in our Torah portion that the Most High saw that Leah was hated. Now, Leah is the first wife of Yaakov. She wasn't even selected. He didn't want her. He literally hated her. He hated her. He didn't want her. He didn't go out of his land to go there to get a wife that he hated. He wanted the wife that he loved, which was Raquel. So what we find here is that the Most High has put someone in his life, in our ancestors' life, that he hated. And again, he doesn't really have a meaningful relationship with the Most High at this moment. Okay? So Leah is used more than any other person in this Torah portion. The focus is so much on her that it blew my mind. She's the one that's been hated. And I asked the Most High, well, why? Why is she hated? Right? Her name means to be weary or to be worn out or to be tired. She wasn't as beautiful as her sister. She wasn't the first selection. She wasn't the first choice. She's the one that's hated. She's the one who everyone dislikes. Okay? And she said this. She said, it's because Yahweh has seen how humiliated, which goes along with that word hate, meaning to someone to put distance and separation between themselves, that I have been. Okay, I've been humiliated. And she was humiliated by her father. She was humiliated by her new husband. She's been humiliated in the eyes of the community and those who surround them. And it's obvious and it can be seen. But now my husband will love me because the Most High saw. that she was hated. He saw that she's humiliated. We find that Leah now is establishing her relationship. This is Yah's plan. Yah sent Yaakov there not just for Yaakov, not just for his benefit, but for the benefit of the family. She was adjudicated in her own way by Yah. All that happened. It wasn't just Lavan. Lavan is just being used in order to bring about Yah's plan. And that's what Yah is trying to show us. So even while we're putting Yah's plan together, there's going to be some hatred that's going to be involved. There's going to be some deception that's going to be involved. There's going to be some distress. There's going to be a lot of ugly things. And we don't like that. We don't like the fact that our plan might include some things that bring humiliation to us. We don't like the fact that we might be hated by those who we want to be loved by. This is not just talking about a relationship between a husband and wife. This is talking about how she was treated by everybody. Okay? And the son that she had from this idea of Yah has heard or seen, excuse me, that he's seen me being humiliated. She says this after she has a son. And his name is what? Someone tell me. That has to do with Yahweh's seeing. What is the name of the son that has to do with Yahweh's seeing? What's the name of her first son? Come off mute. Reuven. The first part of Reuven's name, Reah, has to do with seeing, meaning to see his son. So now this relationship that the Most High is establishing with the one that's hated, she's actually seeing that Yah sees her. He sees how she's hated. He sees what she's going through. So she gives birth to a son and calls him Reuven. Not only does Yahweh see, but Yahweh has heard that I'm unloved. Again, hated. Even after her first son, she's still hated. The hatred wasn't just seen. It wasn't just something that she was experiencing from physical acts in which she can detect by what she sees with her eyes. She's actually hearing everyone hating her, saying things about her, mocking her. This is what they're talking about. And not just her husband, it's her sister. It's everyone. It's the father, it's the servants, it's a whole entire community, everyone that's around her. But Yahweh has heard that I'm unloved. Therefore, he's given me this son also. Who's this son that Yah has heard? Who would Yah give? Someone tell me. What's the name of the second son?
Shimon.
Shimon. So Shimon's name means to hear. So the first son is Yahweh sees. He sees it and he builds a son. A son is to build. That's what a son is. Remember, we talked about that last week. To build is from the root of a son, to build a family. Right? So in the process of building this family, the Most High is paying attention to how he's building his family. His family has problems. The building of his family is based on seeing that there's hatred. There's a lack of love in his family. But yet, the family's still being built. Keep this in mind, because you are the sons and the daughters of Yahweh. Now, this time, my husband will be joined to me, because I have borne him 3 sons. What's the name of this son? Who is the one going to join her to her husband?
Levi.
Lewi. So if you can see, she's naming her sons based on her experiences. Is telling a story. So every one of these sons of the 12 tribes of Israel has a story. They have a backdrop on the significance of their names or what the challenges were for their mothers or their family. It talks about the rivalry or the competition that caused this hatred. You see? So it's these sons that are representative of a story being told. So when we've been looking at it, we're like, oh, well, these are just, Reuven, Shimon, Levi, Yehuda, Yissachar, Dan, Gad, Asher, Naphtali, Benjamin, Ephraim, Manasseh, Gad, Asher, right? So we're looking at it and we're calling their names, but we don't understand the significance of their names. Lewi is significant. He's very, very significant. She said, now that my husband's going to be joined to me. That word Lewi actually has to do with borrowing as well. It doesn't mean it means to borrow or to lend. It's a practice. Often when resources were shared. So she's telling us a story that, maybe now, because what Yaakov was doing, everyone, was just going to the tent and he was having conjugal visits with her and then he would get up and leave. They didn't have no relationship. Now, keep in mind when we're talking about Lewi or we're talking about Yaakov and we're talking about Leah, we're talking about our relationship, what we have with the Most High. Because our relationship with the Most High is like marriage. It is a marriage. So what was going on is Yaakov, being the slickster he is and being the person he is, and you and I didn't know that he had the capacity to be hateful, is hating this woman because he didn't want her. He wanted someone else. You understand? In our relationship with the Most High, we don't want him. We hate him. Listen to what I'm about to tell you. When I say we, I'm talking about our nation. I'm talking about what's in our blood. We love idolatry. We love idols. We love foreign women. We love all these different things. We don't want Yah. We hate him just like Jacob hated Leah. So this son right here, Lewi, the three letters that you have is the Lamed. The next one in the pink is the Wa. The next one is the Yod. Each one of these letters have several different meanings. They're not just one meaning. They have what you will call their agricultural meaning, or what represents, the staff or the tent peg or the hand. These letters represent these things, right? To join, he's joining something, right? It means grammatically to or for the Lamed. It's used as a preposition. The Wa is used as and, as a conjunction grammatically. They use it for that. And the letter Yod means he. You put that in front of any verb, it means he will. He will do this. Okay. Also, too, under the Lamed, you have there as the action of it is to guide. That's what the staff is used for. Is used for guidance. Okay. And of course, the Wa is used for joining. That's the action. You're joining the tent peg. You're joining the tent to the ground. You're establishing something. Under the Yod, it means my. Anytime this letter is at the end of a word, it means a possession or something that belongs to me. It's my father, Avi, right? It's Imi, right? My mother or my Ishi, my husband. Okay. So there's a whole bunch of different ways that these letters can be used. Okay. And finally, we have this idea of the abstract under the Lamed, meaning to teach. So the staff is not just to guide, but it's to teach. So when we're getting guided along our road, the Most High is teaching us by leading us and by guiding us. So we can go to somewhere, but we need that staff. We need that instruction. We need that authority. We need that shepherd. Under the Wa, which they would call some people call it a Va, but it's a Wa. The Wa has this idea of that connection as the connecting piece. Right? So this name, Lewi, means to connect. So what you take all these ideas together and you put them together, you have this, I would say, this soup or this meal that consists of Yahweh teaching us by connecting to us. And this is the reason why he's chosen this woman to have this son. You see, she's actually naming him, right? Because he's going to be used to connect us to our Elohim. The Most High is using this son to connect you and I, to connect me to the Most High through the Levites, through Lewi, through Moshe, through Aaron, through that whole entire family. That's the reason why. There's a purpose, there's a plan. See, so we might have our own plans, we may have our own intentions, but Yah has a plan for us. And the idea that he's really after is to make a connection, to connect us to him. And the only way that we're truly connected, and I want everyone who's listening live on YouTube to understand this. In order for us to be really connected to our Creator, it has to be through this family. It has to be through the family of the Levites. There's no other way that you and I could be connected to the Most High. He chose this individual family in order to make a connection with him. You see? Now she says, this time I will praise Yahweh. Who is she talking about?
Yehuda.
She's talking Yehuda. I'm going to cause, now I have been caused to praise Yahweh. So as a result of her being hated and everything that she's going through, Yah is bringing these children into her lives. And while these children are walking around her, and why she's nursing them, and why she's teaching them, and why she's guiding them, she's thinking about all that Yah has brought her through. They're walking around as memorials. They're memorials for her, but they're indictments for her sister, because her sister hates her. These are indictments to her husband because her husband hates her. These are indictments to all the people that are talking crazy, because she's saying, when you see Reuven, Yah sees. When you hear of Shimon talking, Yahweh, he hears. So Yah sees, Yah hears. I want to be joined. They're not named this on accident. They have a plan and a purpose for their names, and which is supposed to be reflective of their character. So it's multifaceted. So now, after everything she's going through, she developed a praise for Yahweh. So what are you and I supposed to learn from this? We're going to have to go through something. In order to bring us to our praise, we're going to have to go through something. I found that in the Torah portion, it's not only just about this deception and this vision and this dream and the ladder going up to the heavens and coming down and him putting a stone up and anointing it for it to be the house of Elohim. I found the idea of building a relationship, as I said earlier, that our relationship is not contingent upon the relationship that our fathers and our mothers have had with the Most High. We have to have this for ourselves. And it's only going to be through that which we experience ourselves that is going to bring us to having a relationship with the Most High. That's part of the plan. That's the plan, to build a relationship. In this relationship, you and I have to see. We have to recognize that Yah sees us. That's why Reuven was born. That's why he's a reminder. That's why his name is on one of the 12 stones that's on the breastplate of the high priest, because Yahweh sees. He sees his son, which is called Yisrael, which your daughters included. He sees us. Not only should you and I see, but we also hear. It's not until we see Yahweh as our Elohim that we can start building this relationship. It's not until you and I understand that we need to start listening to Yah in order for us to have a relationship like Shimon, like his mother had. She didn't have a relationship with the Most High. It had to be developed. It's developing her, it's developing her character. But she's only able to do that based on what she sees and what she hears. It wasn't what she believed. And it never will be, people. Yah does not want us to believe anything. I want you to see it, and I want you to hear it. I want you to see what I said to you. I want you to listen to what I said to you. Shema Yisrael. Yahweh Eloheinu, Yahweh Echad. Because Yah hears. Goes both ways. It is not until you and I see and hear Yahweh that we can expect to be joined to him. You understand? This is a prophetic preview of what it's going to take. The names of those sons were mentioned in order for Yah to send us a message. I want you to see, hear, and then you're going to be joined. You're going to see me when I come back. You're going to hear my voice. Then I'm going to join you to myself. And after that, then you'll praise me. Oh, praise be to Yahweh. Then we'll be able to give him the praise that he's looking for. That's the reason why this story is in chapter number 29. That's the purpose and the plan for their birth, people. It's not religious. It's based upon a relationship. Adequate praise only comes from when you and I are joined to the Most High correctly. Akika, are you telling me I can't praise him right now? Yeah, you can, but it's not the one he's looking for. Our exilic praise is not sufficient. You saying we can't be joined to him 100%? No, not right now. Not while you're joined to idolatry. Not while you live in a land full of perversion and wickedness. No, you're not joined to the Most High. It's insufficient. It's inadequate. Akika, you're telling me that I can hear everything he's saying? No, you can hear what he said. Past tense. You don't need to hear about anything speaking in the future. You need to worry about right now. How am I supposed to see him? Well, when you read your Torah portions, as you've been reading, you'll be able to see him. You'll be able to understand, and he'll be able to open your eyes, because you and I are blind, to open our eyes so we can see, so we can hear, so we can have an expectation of truly joining ourselves to him, to give him the praise that's due to his name, collectively as a family. What we're doing is insufficient. And the moment that it becomes sufficient to you and I, then that's when you and I have a problem. We misunderstood the Most High, and we don't understand what's going on. Yaakov took this vow. He said something that kind of made me wonder, like, why would he say this? He said, if Elohim will be with me and will guard me on this road so that I'm traveling, giving me bread to eat and clothes to wear, so that I return to my father's house in peace, then Yahweh will be my Elohim. And this stone, which I have set up as a standing stone, will be Elohim's house. And of everything you give me, I will faithfully return 1/10 to you. Let's be religious for just a moment. Should we be paying tithes to these places that you go to or you visit? You should give them your tithes. You should give them 10% of your income, because you're under the law of the tithe. No, we're not religious. Let me explain to you what's going on here. Number one, there's a problem with this. There is a problem with this vow. Why are you challenging this, Akika? I'm challenging it because this is not how vows are made. Vows are not based on the supposition of if, meaning depending on the circumstances, depending on the situation, then that's when something's going to be what it is. This is a faulty vow. He did not make Yahweh his Elohim. He put conditions on the Most High. Something his fathers did not do. This is a flaw, people. You can't make a vow to the Most High if you don't have what you need to make that vow. Vows are made based on ability and substance. I, in the past, have told you that I made this very mistake, this same mistake. If you would do this, then I'll do that. No, it doesn't work like that. You're supposed to have something in your power to do it. And if by chance it doesn't work out the way it's supposed to, then you have to start it over. But because he said if, it was conditional. He put conditions on the Most High, and that's a no-no. Whether or not you and I want to understand this, the Most High is Elohim. He didn't understand this. The Most High did not become Elohim because he gave him food and clothes to wear. Yah doesn't become our Elohim because we have food and because we have clothes. No. He doesn't have to give you and I anything to be Elohim except for his word. Now, this is after the Most High spoke to him. You see? He saw a vision and then he puts a condition on it. That's a problem. And now, by the way, what's the purpose of the 10th? Let me explain something to you about this 10th, this tithe that we've been told all of our lives that you need to give 10% of your income. Do you know we have no information whatsoever that Yaakov gave a 10th to the Most High? There's nowhere there's written that said he set aside a 10th of all of his wealth and gave it to the Most High. We see him in our next Torah portion that he set aside stuff and gave it to Esau. We don't see anywhere where he set aside a 10th to give to the Most High. We don't see anywhere, okay, that he gave of anything, whether it be of his wealth, whether it be of his gold, his silver, his oxen, his cattle, or his slaves, his servants. He had to give a 10th to the Most High. See? So this was conditional. This wasn't a for sure. This was a maybe, an if, depending on the circumstances. That's a no-no. A lot of people will contend this is the reason why he went into his slavery as long as he did, because he said something that's offensive to the Most High. It's offensive, okay? All because you read it in the Bible doesn't mean it's right, okay? You got to look at the context. If, that's conditional. The idea behind everything, that word everything, I italicized it because it doesn't mean just everything. It means wealth. He asked the Most High for wealth. He didn't ask him just for anything. He asked him for wealth. Okay? Then he says, then I'll faithfully return a 10th to you. But it's only if you give me this. You see? So what's the purpose of a 10th? A purpose of a 10th is to have wealth. You can't give Yahweh anything. You and I cannot give Yahweh anything. Now, did this vow get disannulled because of what he said? No. So what do we find? We find in our law that the Most High prescribed for the children of Israel, which are the sons of Jacob or Yaakov, that they are to give a 10th. To who? To the Leviim, who are supposed to give a 10th of the best to the Levites, to the family of Levi, because those are the ones who are joined and interceding on behalf of the children of Israel. So that still happens. You understand? Out of our wealth. I want to go over the second part about the promises in our outline. We found a lot of misrepresentations that were part of our Torah portion and our Haftarah. There's a lot of deceit, a lot of deception that was being used in this family. Okay. Yaakov is said to Uncle Lavan, "What kind of thing is this that you have done to me? Didn't I work for you for Raquel, but why have you deceived me?" There is a reason why the uncle deceived him. The uncle deceived him is because he took full advantage of Yaakov. He exploited him due to what he told him. It's found in this very cryptic message that Uncle Lavan said when he met Yaakov, when he ran out to go meet him when Raquel came home and told her father that Yaakov is here, your sister's son is here. And he ran out and he brought him home and he hugged him and he kissed him. And then they were sitting around and they were chopping it up and talking. And he's explaining, now remember, this is not a religious story. This is a story about a family. So now the uncle, which is his mother's brother, is sitting down with him saying, hey, I'm so happy to see you. And Yaakov told him everything that happened. Reason why he went out of Beersheba is because of what he did to his brother and how his mother helped him. And he shared all the details, the dirty down details of everything that his mama did. How she helped and she put the goat hair on him and she put it on his neck and she put it on his hands, and how she prepared the meal and how he went and said this and did that, and how Esau was out hunting and he came back and now he wants to kill me. He gave him all the details. Told him the whole story. And this man said to him, "You are indeed my own flesh and blood." He wasn't saying that because he was like, "Oh, you're my nephew." That's already a given. He knows that. This wicked person is saying, "You are indeed my own flesh and blood," after he told him the story. Meaning that, oh, this is the way that, yeah, you are for real. You are our family. Yep. That's something we would do. Yup. Your mom is just, yup. Your mom is just like me. Yup. That's what we do. Yup. Yup. Yep, you got it. You got him. Yep, you got over on him, right? Poor little Yaakov innocently didn't even understand what was going on. He got exploited. Which brings us to our Haftarah. Remember, Yah hears and Yah sees. Yah says Ephraim, which is a surname for Israel now, because when we get into our later discussions, we find out that Yaakov has given the name Israel to Ephraim, to Joseph's son. He has pronounced this blessing on him to give him that actual name to him and not Reuven because of the crimes that he's committed, which we're going to get into a little bit later. But when we talk about Ephraim in the Haftarah, he's talking about Israel. He says, Ephraim surrounds me with lies, and the house of Israel with deceit. So where does this come from? Where does these lies and where does this deceit, where does this misrepresentation come from? Where does this hiding and concealing things come from? It comes from, you are indeed my own flesh and blood. So Yah is letting us know that what's inherent to our behavior is to be a liar and a deceiver. That's part of who our Father is. This is shameful. We don't want, if you're religious, you want to make Yaakov out to be the chosen one, great. But instead of hiding the lies, instead of us hiding the shame and the deceit, let's just open it up. Let's be like Yah. Let's see it for what it is. When we hear something, say what it is. Let's pull back the layers and show who we really are. And this is what we're not getting today. We're not being honest with our families. We're not being honest with our children. We're not being honest with our parents. We're not being honest with people around us. Because we don't see it the way that Yah sees it. We would like to hide it. We would like to not talk about it. We would like to not disclose this information. Do you know how many secrets is in my family right now? Do you know how many household secrets are going on from generation to generation? How many lies that are dying with the people who were here that they got to bring with them to the grave? My mother used to say it all the time. Well, I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to my grave with that. So there is no real transparency because it's in us. It's in our flesh. It's in our blood. It's who we are. It's what we've been taught. Yah says, but they tried to deceive him. This is what's in the Psalms, Psalm 78. They tried to deceive. Who? Israel. Who? Reuven, Shimon, Levi, Yehuda, Yissachar, Zevulun, Dan, Gad, Asher, Naphtali, Benjamin, Yosef, Ephraim, Manasseh, all of them have tried to deceive Yah. With what? With their words. There's great significance and importance found within the Hebrew culture where our word is literally everything. When we speak, our mandate is to tell the truth. No matter how bad it hurts. We're supposed to keep every vow that has come out of our mouth, no matter even if it damages us. That's the type of people we're supposed to be. Because that's the foundation of the community. But now we got a whole bunch of liars that are trying to lie to someone who sees everything and who hears everything, who knows everything. How stupid could we be? They lied to him with their tongues. Everything you said we will do. Said it 4 times. Everything you said we'll do. Oh, no. As for me and my house, we're going to serve the Most High. What are you guys going to do? Oh, yeah, we're going to serve him. We're going to do everything that Moses has said. Lying the whole time. For their hearts were not right with him. And their minds are not right. Lying, by the way, people, is not always in what we say. It's actually what we do too. It's what we don't say that makes us a liar. It's what you don't say that makes you a liar too. It's not only what you do, it's what you don't do that makes you a deceiver. Do you understand? Lavan didn't go and tell Yaakov, yeah, I'm going to give you Leah. He did something. And he didn't do something. He's supposed to give Raquel, but he didn't do it. That's a deceiver. You see? For their minds were not right with him, and they were unfaithful to his covenant. The opposite of that is if you're lying, you're not being faithful. If a wife lies to her husband, she's unfaithful. And in my opinion, it's grounds for divorce. I know. I rubbed a couple of feathers wrong. I ruffled them, right? If my wife lies to me, I'll say it live. I'm going to divorce her. And the reason why I'm going to do it is simply because she's broken faith with me. That's how important a covenant is. You can't be with somebody you don't trust. Example, the Most High is saying that as a people have been unfaithful to me because of the words and your actions of what you said you were going to do, and you didn't do it. You lied. And our Elohim is an Elohim of faithfulness and truth. So those two things don't go together. You're a little extreme, Akika. No, I'm not. I'm going to find myself in righteousness. Because what am I looking for? I'm looking for what all of us should be looking for. Self-refinement. Your Torah portion is about self-refinement. And let me explain. Lavan said, "What should I give you?" "Nothing," answered Yaakov. He understood something. He understood that this wicked person, this wicked relative, this wicked uncle that embraced him, kissed him, lied to him, deceived him, wasn't for his good. He recognized it. And it was something that he had to come to grips with himself, that everybody in your family is not for your good. They're not there to help you. There's things that you should not take from anybody, because there's always a hook. There's always a catch. There's always a condition. There's always another opportunity for them to exploit you. We should learn from our Father here when he says, "What should I give you?" In context, he's asking, you going to work for me? What can I give you? He said, "Nothing. I don't want nothing from you." Why? Because you've been telling me lies. Okay? Here's how it was for me. Now Yaakov's describing to Uncle Lavan about what's happened to him. He's angry. He came to the point of no return and says, "Hey, I need to let you know what time it is. I ain't said nothing for 20 years. I'm about to tell you what it is now." Because that 20 years was a time of self-refinement. It's the shedding of things. It's finally to come out of one's shell or one's hole. And what do I mean by that? I'll explain. During the day, thirst consumed me. And at night, the cold, my sleep fled from my eyes. Why? Because he took on the job of being a shepherd. He took on the job of being a teacher and a guide for the animals. And he took on the responsibility to join himself to a flock of herds and goats and sheep that needed care. He took responsibility. They became like his own, but yet he owned none of them. They all belonged to his master, who was wicked. And he says, "If the Elohim of my father," again, making recognition that he hasn't accepted him as his Elohim. See, if the Elohim of my father, the Elohim of Abraham, the Elohim, the one who Yitzchak fears, not have been on my side, by now you would certainly have already sent me away with nothing. Elohim, not my Elohim. Elohim has seen my distress. I've been and how hard I've worked. And last night, he passed judgment in my favor. Yaakov is beginning to recognize Yahweh through dreams, recognizing what Yah has moved on his behalf in order to create wealth for him. See? It's through what we suffer, it's through our distress, it's through our cold nights, it's through our long, hard days that we begin to have a relationship with the Most High. It's not until we come to our end of ourselves that we would see Yah's favor in our lives. He didn't stop working. Even though he knew he was being taken advantage of, he still had what I would call great work ethic. Even though he was being taken advantage of, it didn't change who he was. Other people didn't influence that. The circumstances around him were shaping and molding him. You see? But Yah judged in his favor. He had a breakthrough. Like I said, he came out of his shell, or what they would say, a hole. Like wheat. Wheat has a hole around it. And the only way you can get that wheat out of that hole is by crushing it and by oppressing it and by stomping on it so it can have a breakthrough. So once it comes out, you'll have a separation between the wheat and the chaff. It's only going to happen through that. Which brings us to something I found in the book of Hosea. It wasn't directly in our Haftarah, but I found it when I was studying. It was a footnote. And it says, Ephraim is a well-taught cow. It loves to tread the grain. And I have spared her fair neck, but I will put Ephraim in harness. Yehuda will have to plow. Yaakov will harrow his own land. Let me explain this. I have the Hebrew underneath there because I wanted to remind myself a few things about this passage. The English, again, is having you under the assumption or the idea that this cow loves to tread grain. It doesn't say that. It doesn't say that at all. Okay. Is there a cow there? Yes, it's a heifer. It's an eglah. That's what a heifer is called, an eglah. And it said it loves to tread the grain. That's not true. What's true and what is a fact is this. There's a word in here called malad. Lamad. And then lamada. But the word lamad is here. The lamed right here is the letter that has to do with the teaching. Anytime you see that letter, it means to teach. The word for teach is lamad. That's what teaching is. That's why they use the letter lamed in it. It's called lamad. Okay. This is the name of the letter, lamed. The word lamad means to teach. The reason why it's lamada is because it's talking about something that's feminine, which is this eglah, which you would have in here, E-G-L-A-H. Okay, that right there has to match the verb. So anytime you're talking about I'm doing something to something feminine, then the verb has to be feminine to match the actual noun. So that's the noun, and this is the verb. The action has to match the noun, right? So if the verb is feminine, the noun has to be feminine. If the noun is feminine, the verb has to be feminine, okay? But the interesting part about saying that it loves, talking about this eglah, talking about this cow, it loves to tread the grain. That's not true. That would give us the idea that this in particular cow likes to tread. She doesn't like to tread. The truth is that which you have right here, love. That word love right there is ahav. Right there. You can see it, ahav. The T right here means I. So what they do is they add that letter to, or those letters to this word called ahavti. That means I loved teaching. So what it is not that Ephraim is a well-taught cow and it loves, talking about Israel here, because that's what it is. Israel loves to tread. That's not true. Israel doesn't love to tread. I love to teach Israel how to tread. I love teaching you. That's what Yah is saying. And as a result of me loving you, I've spared her neck. I spared her until she learned how to tread. You can't go out and tread a direction or a path until you learn how to be trained. Treading in a grain means that you're going in a circle all the time. and you're going over the grain over and over and over, and you're crushing it. And then you're making a separation between the wheat and the kernel of the wheat and the chaff, that which is useless. So when the Most High is talking about, I love training you, I'm sparing you. I could have put you down, but I didn't, because I'm going to keep training you. I'm going to keep loving you. I've loved you so much. And after you finish learning how to go in circles, as we discussed before, our circles is what Yah is using to get us to go around, forget my circle, and around, and around, and around, and around, and around, and around, until you and I get it. You're not going to go around the circle one time. You're not going to go into exile one time. I'm going to keep you going over and 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 over until you get it. You're going to keep doing Torah portions over and 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 over again. You're going to keep learning over and 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 again. You're going to keep doing the Sabbath over and 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 again. Because I love you. And I'm sparing you. So I can finally, after we're done, I can put a harness of a yoke, the one that I want, and I'm going to attach your brother to you, and you guys are going to go out and do what I told you. Which you're going to go plow the field for me. And you're going to bring about the righteousness of your own land first. Then I'll send you out to go do the rest of the world. There's no way that you're getting out of this. You are going to have to be broken, crushed in order so you can get it over and over again, because I love teaching you. Here's what Yahweh says. We have heard a cry of terror, of fear, not of peace. These are disturbing words. These are words that should make your ears pop up. What? Yah says we've heard a cry of terror and fear and not of peace, meaning dread. What are you talking about, Yah? Ask now and see, can men give birth to children? Why then do I see all the men with their hands on their stomachs like women in labor, with every face turned pale, meaning green? Why are they bent over like they're about to have a child and their faces are green? What's going on? Oh, how dreadful that day will be. What, the day that these people are holding their stomach? Yeah. There has never been one like it. A time of trouble for Jacob. But out of it, he will be saved. What is this talking about, Aikika? This is telling you that there's a day that's coming. Just like our father has had trouble with Lavan and trouble with Esau and trouble with Shechem and trouble in Mizraim and trouble, that's going to be consistent with what our trouble is going to be. There's a day where there's a cry that's going to be heard. It's not a cry of laughter and joy. It's a cry of dread and terror. And people are going to be holding their stomachs as if they're giving birth, crying out. Why? Because there's trouble. There's going to be distress. And it's not before Jacob, it's because of Jacob. This is going to happen to the whole entire world. See? This is what's about to happen. But you're going to be saved out of it. Who Jacob will be. On that day, it is a day. It's not a time period of 7 years as the book of Revelation has told you. It is a day. Says Yahweh Zavaoth. He says now Zavaoth. That's battle formation. That's I'm here to bring war. That's Yahweh of heaven's armies. I will break his yoke from off your neck, and I will snap your chains. Foreigners will no longer enslave him. Making reference to what our father went through with his uncle. His uncle was a foreigner. He was from the land of Padam Aram. His uncle was an idolater. His uncle told him lies. And the people there, his uncle is the one who enslaved him and put a yoke around his neck and lied to him and made promises that he didn't keep. But Yah says, I'm going to break this. Just like I told your father Yaakov to come out, now it's time for you to leave. There's a time when you and I are leaving, and it's going to be on that day. But Yahweh is the one who's going to come and get us. And as a result of this, the yoke that's on our necks will be broken, and the chains will be snapped. And these foreigners, the ones that you and I so-called have made relationships with, and that we love their ways, the ones who have been oppressing us, the ones who still recognize you as 3/5 of a human being, that has never mentioned changing any type of legislation or anything to make sure that you would be whole as a 5/5 of a person. You're still 3/5 even to this day, you stupid people. You still love these people. You still think that your little 3/5 of a vote counts, like they really could consider you. They don't care about you. That's the truth. Can you see it? No, you can't. Can you hear it? No, because nobody's talking about it. They're not talking about it, but they tell you it's going to be for change. There is no change. You're a slave. That's what Yah is telling you and I. And the reason why he's telling us this is because he's trying to get us to recognize our status, our state of where we really are. You may not think that you got a yoke on your neck and you're like, well, where's the chains at? I'm free. You're not free. You're not free. You go to any store right now and you walk in and there's nothing but idolatry all around you. You go to any restaurant you want to right now. Happy holidays. You go down in your neighborhood right now like I am and there's Snoopy on somebody's yard with a Santa Claus hat. Everywhere I go, it's there. It's all over the place. I can't get away from it. You're enslaved. You have to understand this. But Yah says, I'm going to break that. You're not going to be enslaved anymore. You're going to serve me. Finally, I want to talk to you about the way. There's a lot of ways that we could be walking on and we could be going. The Most High has determined for you to be on the path that he wants. Yah says that their delight is in Yahweh's Torah. This is through King David. Whose delight? Their delight. The person who's asher, the person who's happy, the person who's blessed, the person who doesn't walk or sit with the sinners and the seat of the scornful, those who take the counsel of the wicked. They delight in Yah's Torah. And they meditate on it not only during the day. They're meditating, they're gnawing on it like a bone, even at night. They're like trees planted by streams, meaning that they're always going to have fruit. They're always going to have what they need. They're always going to be flourishing, and their leaves will never wither. And everything that they do will succeed. But it's not so with the wicked. You know, when it mentioned everything what they do shall succeed, you see that with Yaakov, he's considered even in his faults to be a righteous person. That's why Yah judged in his favor, which Yah is telling us. If you and I would stay on the right path and do what's right, the Most High will judge in your favor. You'll have more favorable conditions. But this is not going to be the case with the wicked. The wicked are like the chaff which the wind driveth away. You'll find this in Psalms number 1. He says, for this reason, the wicked won't stand up in the judgment, nor sinners at the gathering of the righteous. There was a gathering of the wicked when Lavan tricked Yaakov. The wicked knew what was going to happen. Lavan had told them. When they came to pursue Yaakov, there weren't righteous people. They were wicked people. And they weren't going there to talk people. They were going in there to unalive Yaakov and to take back his daughters and the sons and pillage them. Just like when we were in Egypt and the armies chased us. They were there to follow us, not to bring us back, but to pillage us and to kill us and to destroy us and to slay us, our sons and our daughters, and to take away all of our wealth. You see, that's the wicked. The wicked are not going to stand up to Yah's judgment that's coming. Yahweh watches over the way of the righteous. So whatever way that you and I are walking on, that's the way that Yah says, I'm going to look over that. I'm looking at you right now. I'm looking at what path you're on. There's only one path that Yah is looking at. That's the path that you're on. And that allows you to receive the mercy and the compassion that Yah is going to give. Because the way of the wicked is doomed. There's only two ways. There's Yah's way and there's the way of the wicked. Yah's way is the way of righteousness because Yah loves righteousness. That's just who he is. We're told that Yahweh is not an Elohim who takes pleasure in wickedness. He's not. Evil cannot remain with you. Why? Those who brag cannot stand before your eyes. You hate all who do evil. Write that in your book. Make a note that Yah hates all who do evil. You destroy those who tell lies. So if you like lying, you're going to be destroyed. Listen, uncomfortable. I've lied in the past. What do? Don't do it again. Yah's not mincing words here. Yahweh detests men of blood and deceivers. This is the reason why he sent Yaakov into that land. So he can finally recognize what being a deceiver is. Yah's going to destroy them. It says, let the wise understand these things. That's a mistranslation. The first word there is me, and that means who. That's an interrogative, or what you would call an interrogative. The question is, who is wise? Who is wise and who can understand these things? That's the question. The Most High is asking a question. Who is wise enough and has enough understanding of the things that Yah is telling us? And let us discern them, to know them. For the ways of Yahweh are straight. They're not crooked. They're always going to be righteousness. And the righteous walk in them, but the sinners, meaning the rebels, they fall. They yakashalu, they stumble. Why do you stumble? Because you don't have any strength. You don't have any balance. So the wicked are weak, but they pretend to be strong. The righteous are firm and they're strong and they have strength and they have stability in their lives. When you and I move away from Yah and we start going on to another path, it means that you're not, for whatever reason, you have weakened yourself so you can't walk on this path. You have to be strong in order to be on Yah's path. You have to be. So whoever it is of us who's wise, and any of us who have understanding, understand that when you and I are walking the path that Yah has for us, it requires strength, it requires fortitude, it requires determination, It requires consistency. It requires absoluteness. Absolute. I want now to briefly explain what all of this means. Okay. While I'm doing that, I'm going to go ahead and put the Torah up in the Haftarah and those things up for you. And you can write them down after I explain what all this means. Okay. Yahweh, everyone, is going to use people, places, and situations to shape our character. And you and I need to understand that they are all divinely orchestrated by Yah himself to help facilitate, you understand me, the changes that you and I need to become better people. That's just what it is. And not only is he using them to do that, to shape our lives, but he's also using them to actively create this sense of an hatred. He wants you and I to have something within ourselves. So I'll send you through what I'm sending you through so I can develop your character to teach you on what I don't like. Yah wanted to show Yaakov what he hated. What he hates is wickedness. What he hates is deception. What he hates is dishonesty. What he hates is saying something and not following through. What he hates is the bait and switch. He wants us to hate the things that stops us from having progress and truthfulness and determination as a people. We are to learn from these experiences. Why? Because life experiences do what? They can be very valuable. They can be very valuable to us. If only we would take the time to understand what they mean, right? What do these life experiences really mean? I want you to know today that our past is always operating as a tool. Your past is always a tool. It's being used as a tool to guide us into something different. Perhaps maybe a better future. Perhaps maybe better circumstances, something more favorable to us. And while we're reflecting upon the past, I call it the opportunity of reflection. That's what I call the past. It's the opportunity of reflection. To what? To reflect upon the mistakes that I've made. I want to reflect upon the mistakes that I've made in the past. Put your device on mute. Thank you. I want to reflect upon them. I want to reflect upon the memories that I have. The memories of what? Of some of the victories that I've had. It's just not about my mistakes. It's about remembering some of the victories I've had. That's why I call it a time or opportunity of reflection. But we also need to be mindful and consider the fact that we can only possess enough power to accomplish what we want. And the things that you and I cannot accomplish and that we can't bring forth, we need our Elohim's help. We need his power. And I know that navigating, obstacles can be very challenging at times. I also understand that it can be overwhelming and even maybe even too difficult to overcome. But it's in those moments. It's in those very moments of that difficulty and that distress that we can find comfort in Yah, that we can turn to the power of our Elohim. And we can remember that he has love and compassion for us as his people. So I say today, bless be Yahweh, the Elohim of Abraham, the Elohim of Yitzchak, and the Elohim of Yaakov. And he is my Elohim. And you have to choose him for yourself. Just like Rivquad has done, just like Leah has done. Even Raquel began to have a relationship with the Most High in her naming her sons. So Yahweh again is being introduced to a family and letting them know that you're going to have challenges. You're going to have obstacles. You're going to have all these things. But with Yahweh, you and I can do anything, and we can do everything. All praise be giving unto our Creator. And I would like to share with you, and if you have any questions or concerns or comments or contributions, feel free to ask your question. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can load up this thing right here. See if it comes up. It's storming pretty bad today out here in California. Oh, it is there. Okay, cool. Let's go. Let's see here.